Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of TV&R. We're doing this again. I'm really excited. You'd have seen that each and every episode took a little while longer than I imagine a lot of people would have anticipated. But I really want to spend time in making sure that the content and the people that we get on TV&R are worthy of your time and, are able to add value to everyone's lives. If you don't know what TV&R is all about, it's for people within the television and radio industry, just, whether you're a professional, whether you're sort of still, on the come up, is to sort of help you in areas that perhaps the internet may not be able to assist. I think there's a lot of things you can learn from people and their experiences, things that you can't necessarily learn from a Google search. I'm really excited about today's conversation. We are in conversation with incredible actress Ama Qamata. You would have watched Netflix's latest African original, which I'm really excited about. I had the honor of basically getting a preview into all of the episodes, and Ama is going to be joining us in a few. I know we get this all the time. I'm going to pin this comment. There's Ama. But we get this all the time where Ama, of course, plays the role of Buleng Khumalo on Blood and Water, which I'm really excited about. We're getting her on now. Hey!
I'm so excited! Yes!
I've been talking about this for weeks, and here we are. South Africa has gotten to see Blood and Water. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so incredible. It's such an incredible honor. And thank you so much for having me and for doing this. The reception of the show so far has been so humbling. Like, people are really enjoying the show. So thank you guys. Shout out to you guys.
What were you most nervous about? Because I imagine there's some scenes or, and because this is not episodic and that it comes out every week, but it sort of just all comes at people. Is there a specific episode, a specific scene that you're nervous about?
There were quite a few. I think the one that sticks out the most is definitely the intimate scenes with different characters, because I haven't really
different characters.
Because I haven't done anything like that. It was like my first time doing something like that and just being vulnerable and completely trusting the process. Yeah. That was quite nerve-wracking, but I enjoyed it. I think I had more good scenes than I did oh my gosh, I'm nervous.
Yeah. And I mean, the show is very sexy in itself. What do you tell? And the guys are not bad looking either. So
you know what I'm saying? So they're not too bad on the eyes, guys.
What's the vibe? And don't lie to us. Was there? I mean, the chemistry between you and KB, or your character and KB's, is so intense. Tell us the truth. Give us the jewels. Was there something? Come on. Just even if it's like a little bit.
No, guys, it was complete. We were acting, okay? It's called acting, all right? No. It was so professional. I think Thabang was so amazing. I think I really enjoyed having him as a co-star. There were a lot of scenes where we had to lean on each other emotionally for support. Yeah. And he really pulled through for that, He was just great to shoot with, but nothing like that at all. It was work.
We'll take your word for it, girl. But I mean, on the actual show, I love how it explores, sexuality as a whole, and we're able to see, things that a couple of years ago people would be like, oh my gosh, is that really happening on my TV? And I'm not just speaking, around pansexuality as framed in the series, but just around girls owning their sexuality, which I thought was really, really cool, and that they were deciding, I want to do this. This is something that I want. And Buleng says at some point, I'm not ready. I think for the longest of time, girls were sort of made spectators within their sexuality, and now we're sort of taking charge. Do you think that was a deliberate decision on the writer's end?
I mean, our writer is Nosipho Dumisa. She's incredible. She wrote and directed the show.
Yes.
So I definitely think that played a part into it. I mean, she is a woman. She understands what we go through. And I'm glad that she put that in. I'm glad that Buleng is that character that shows young girls, take ownership of your body and what you want to do. Don't feel pressured to do it because your boyfriend or whatever. I don't want to give away too much of the show. You guys have to watch. But yeah, I feel like Buleng's definitely that character that takes ownership, not only in her sexuality, but everything in her life, you know. She really is determined and strong-willed, and she just goes for it.
For those who haven't as yet seen the show, which they should be because it is streaming globally right now,
Yes.
what is Blood and Water about?
Blood and Water is about Buleng Khumalo, who's played by yours truly. She
Yeah.
goes on a journey to find her abducted at birth older sister, who was kidnapped 17 years ago at the hospital. And so she meets this girl. She sees this girl at a party, and she kind of suspects that that could be her sister. And she goes on this journey of trying to figure out if this girl is her sister. But I think what motivates her the most is just her family. She really wants to put her family together because it's been this dark looming thing about her sister who's been missing, and she really wants to get to the bottom of it. And she meets a lot of interesting characters at Parker's College. She transfers to that school.
Yeah, and as soon as she transfers, she almost plays FBI. You know, her parents are very much on the surface like, oh my gosh, she's wait for what the cops are doing. And I think the story was very deliberately around a young girl being the one to take charge. What did you think as you were going in were the things that Buleng, once she saw Fikile, other than the birthday, she thought that could be my sister?
I think things just started connecting. Like the more she investigated and found out about Fikile, the fact that Fikile in herself doesn't really know a lot about her own life. There's a lot of missing links in her own life, and I think Buleng deliberately just tried to get into her space and learn more about this person. And you know, in one of the scenes, like Fikile doesn't know, she doesn't have baby pictures. Her parents also can't explain, you know, where she was born. Like there's just so many questions around identity. So I think
do you think it could have
Buleng a thing of,
do you think it also could have been a sorry to interrupt you, but a sense of frustration that all these years we're celebrating this girl's, you know, birthday. Like, oh my gosh, let me just figure out who on earth this person is so that we can continue with life.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I think you see that from the very first episode. That's definitely, and also, but I think it's also about the fact that her father is going to go to jail. It's also about protecting her family. You know, she wants to get to the bottom of this to protect her father because he's going to be blamed for something that he didn't do.
Let's speak about you, Ama. You've had quite the journey, and you said to me in a conversation we had that it feels like a proper 360 moment because one of your first gigs was My Perfect Family.
Yes, so that was my first gig. Yes, no, My Perfect Family was my first gig. And you actually left the show when I, like, came into the show. So that is, like, a full circle moment. Like, that is so weird. It's, like, amazing.
That's crazy. But, I mean, you've gone on to do incredible things. I mean, you on Gomorrah as well, you know, currently. There's a lot of young, you know, aspiring actors watching this right now. What do you think has, you know, pulled you through? And because it takes a while, and you know, people will think that you sort of just kind of open your eyes one day and you're there, but it takes a while, doesn't it?
No, it does. It takes a lot of prayer. Just I think also knowing what you want and who you are. I think once you establish that, you know what you want and you know who you are, the universe and God just starts working to just make things happen for you, you know. And just prayer. I mean, if you're spiritual, I pray a lot, you know. I prayed about this opportunity before it even happened, you know. I remember like beginning of 2019, you know, when you like set out your visions and your goals, I was like, God, I really want to be a lead character in a show. Like that is, God, if you can give me that,
and look
please.
At you now. Look
at what God did. He was like, what a girl, take Netflix, there you go.
And you know, you it's incredible how it's happened because now you're on a show that's streaming globally, Han.
Yes.
Like the whole world is watching. Does that give any pressure? Do you feel pressure? Because especially if you just, you know, sort of starting out, it's like boom in your face and it's all happening. Are you taking it in? You know, are you understanding the magnitude of the moment?
Definitely. It's not, I don't feel pressure. I'm more excited, you know. I'm more excited to represent my country, my continent on a global stage. The fact that I get to be one of the young African artists that gets to showcase the talent that we have and the potential we have on this continent. You know, I take that as a privilege, as an honor. I'm very excited. and it doesn't limit me in terms of like what I can do and how I think now. You know, like
Yeah.
the world is literally my oyster, and all of our oysters, the people involved in the show. You know.
Well, let's go back to Blood and Water and how it explores the world of the haves and the have-nots and the disparities and inequalities of the country that we live in. And you see how
Mm,
there's such a vast difference in the manner in which even children, dependent on the schools that they take them, how they turn out, how they behave, what they're exposed
mm,
to. We see bullying
mm.
move from one school to a more affluent school. Do you think that changed her a lot? Because as soon as she comes in, they say, "Welcome to the jungle," you know? And
Mm,
the real jungle is actually where you came from, but this is a different kind
yeah.
of jungle. What do you think, the difficulties that bullying experienced in the different worlds?
I think the school that she went to before wasn't really, I mean, it was still a good school. It was predominantly
Yeah,
white.
yeah,
But I think it was just a different level now. You know, there's
yeah,
levels to this thing.
yeah,
But I think Billing was on a mission at that school. I don't think she was really worried about how people were going to receive her or what clothes she had. It was definitely just to find out who her sister was. She was there
mm,
on a mission. She wanted to find out, is this girl my sister? I think that was her
mm.
journey going into Parker's College.
But you see it even if it's not on like the actual school grounds, in her going to KB's house or going to Phile's party
Mm,
or,
mm.
being at a hotel with her friend where she otherwise would not have been. Do you think worlds like that, and we're speaking now in real life, sort of expose young people to things that they otherwise would have been protected from?
No, definitely. I think that, Buleng being exposed to that, she feels like she doesn't fit in,
Yeah,
and I think that she definitely she tries to navigate herself through that world of just being with people who have so much and she doesn't.
yeah,
I think what that teaches young people is just the importance of just knowing who you are. Don't change who you are no matter where you go. I hope that that's what the message that the message that Bullying gives,
yeah.
is to just stick true to yourself. Because I think even though she was in that environment and around those people, she was still herself. She knew herself and she knew what her goal was.
And did you ever feel like there were moments where, you felt like a moment was bigger than you, greater than you, or you had to sort of, I don't know, configure yourself in order to be able to fit into a room, into a space where you felt like you weren't enough in
In
your
real
personal
life,
life? Yeah.
probably, I probably have. I can't really think of something right now, but I think feeling like you have to fit in is something that everyone can relate to. I think we've all been in spaces where we walk in, we don't really feel confident. We feel like the smallest people in the room. But you know what? I feel like one thing my mom has always taught me is, and what I've always carried with me is humility, gratitude, and respect will take you far in life.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere I go, I just try to carry those principles with me.
Mm-hmm.
In any room that I walk in, it's just about being humble. It's about respecting everyone, no matter who you are, no matter if you the security guard or you're the CEO. Treat everyone with the same respect, and just stay true to who you are.
Yeah. Great message for the youth. Yes, Queen. And I asked that question also because in as much as it's a lot of young people that are in the cast, there's also quite a few legends that
Yes,
are, in the cast. You have your Silo Makeganubes, your Xolile Shabalalas, your Baby
yes.
Teles, like levels, Auntie. Did you ever feel like intimidated? Like I remember I think I was on Generations and I did a scene with Jack Mabaso, and you feel like, oh my gosh, this is
Yes,
actually really happening, and
yeah,
I forgot my
yeah.
words halfway through. You're just like, trying to take this moment in. What was it like for you, especially in that scene where you're at the party and KB's dad, played by Butsillo, comes through?
Can I tell you a funny story about that scene? Butilo is so Ubab yo need to put yo. Ask these guys, Ubab.
Yeah.
Ubab is so amazing. In that scene in particular, I forgot my lines, because obviously I'm standing in front of greatness. I'm standing in front of Archie from
Yeah.
Generations. That's how I know him.
I
Literally, that's
mean,
how
come
I know
on.
him. So then I forgot my lines. I was like, and then he's like, this is your line. And I was like, oh, thank you. So he like fed me my line. I didn't feel intimidated because they were also welcoming and very supportive and just there for me. So it was great working with him. It was a great experience.
I think you find that with some of the greatest people who work in this industry and have been working in this industry for a long time, they themselves, they realize their greatness, but it's not their greatness that keeps them going, and they, in their
Yeah.
minds, they're doing
Mm.
what they love. Somebody else just said, how dare she come on here without knowing her lines? Meanwhile, you know your lines, you just
Yeah.
sort of, like taken by the
Guys,
moment.
when Babs was standing in front of you, I promise you, you can rehearse your lines, and we rehearsed it. And during rehearsal, I got the lines, like we did it. But then as soon as they said action, I was just like, oh
Yes.
my goodness, guys, what was line again? And he just gave it to me. He was really
Yeah.
amazing.
It looked like such a fun set, to work on. Natasha's character drove me up the walls, and she did that so well.
Yeah,
I'm
she
just
did.
like, she's that know-it-all girl who sits in the front of the class, answers all of the questions that are not being asked. And, the dynamic between you guys was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the dynamic between you and Kosi, who plays Fila, was also fantastic. What were some of your favorite moments shooting Blood and Water?
So my favorite moment shooting Blood&Water was definitely, so whoever knows me knows I'm a big Nasty C fan, guys. I am
Yes.
obsessed with Nasty C.
Yeah.
So when he was on set and when I found out he was going to be on the show, first of all, I was like, oh my goodness, guys, okay, let's just take this all in. And everyone was like, yeah, he's going to be on the show. I'm like, no, guys, Nasty C is going to be on the show. Like, he's coming to our
Yes.
set. And I
Yeah.
spoke to the producers and I was like, guys, if you guys need an extra trailer, he can have mine. I don't mind. Can we just make sure that he's okay and he's happy? And I think just shooting with him he's so much fun. He's such a cool guy. And I think he really did a great performance on Blood and Water. So I'm really, really excited for everyone to see that.
Amazing. For those who haven't as yet seen Blood and Water, I think we are out of time. Am I lying? What time is it? 9:30. No, we still got plenty of time. We still got plenty of time. Great. Let's keep this going. Tell me about the dynamic between, it's a mainly female driven, drama. I love that it's written by, a female. I love that it's directed by a female. And we're seeing a lot of, shows coming on board, sort of in that same direction, and the sort of a lot of female leads, which I'm so excited about. And people
About
think women
time.
can't be in the same room together.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think on the set, we were also supportive. Gail Mabelane, shout out to Gail.
Yes.
I saw she's in the comments. Gail was so amazing. I remember there was one time, because we were just shooting a lot and I was doing a lot of scenes every single day. And I was really tired, feeling a bit exhausted. And Gail bought me like a care package. I told her I really wanted Red Bull and a bubble bath, like just telling her casually in conversation that
Yeah.
I really felt like I really needed a bubble bath and I needed this and I needed that. And literally the next day she came with all of that for me. It's like, girl, here you go. Just to make sure you're okay. Here, like
Yeah.
this is for you. And I think with Kosi as well, Kosi and I really leaned on each other for support, because the show is mainly focused around our characters. So we really were just holding each other's hand and like, girl, I got you. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. And we had a lot of
Mhm.
conversations just about like how big this moment was for us. And
Mhm.
also Nosipo, who's our director, who's a black female. She's amazing. I had such a great time working with Nosipo. She's such a perfectionist. And what I love most about working with her is just her attention to detail. And you would see that as well if you like when you watch the show. Everything is intentional. Every shot is intentional. So I really enjoyed working with female.
Yeah.
More females, guys.
And I can
Female power.
understand. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I can understand how, you'd grow exhausted because your character literally goes through so many highs and so many lows. And I'm going to touch again just on, being in, I don't know if we spoke about this earlier, but it's just around being in the shadow. And we see it in the very first opening scene of the show where they're celebrating your abducted sister's birthday and it's you
Yeah.
blowing out the candles. And I remember thinking, why is she blowing out the candles? And it's almost like, Puleng has had to carry, the weight of her sister's shoulders for all of these years.
Mm, mm, mm. No, definitely. And I think that's one of the main reasons why, in the first episode, she's like, Mom, we can't do this anymore. And I think for her, it's very difficult because she is living in the shadow of someone that basically who never existed in her life.
Yeah.
She just knows about this person, but this person never existed.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the main reasons why she goes on her journey to discover like the truth, like what's happening, okay?
I
What is the chat?
yeah, I think it also opens the conversation around mother-daughter relationships and,
Definitely.
how, yeah, and for Puleng, she wasn't being seen. She was there, but she wasn't at all being seen. And I think there are many girls who, whether, they're growing up in a household right now or a grown woman who may or may not have felt seen, whether it be at home and the workplace or wherever it is. What do you think Puleng did that, got her parents' attention to say, okay, you know what? We actually think of you as an adult, so much so we're going to have a conversation to let you know what is actually going down.
Sorry, what was the question? I didn't get that.
What do you think it is that Puleng did in the story that got her parents to stop and say, you know what, we're actually going to treat you like an adult and let you know what's
Oh,
actually
okay.
happening and recognize your existence?
I think it was just the fact that she was very vocal about how she felt about the whole situation about Pume. She didn't support it. Even in the beginning of like the in the first episode when she's like, why does Pume get a 3-tiered cake? We go to Spur, we get like
Yeah.
these lousy birthdays, but you really go all out to celebrate this person's birthday, and we're really tired of it. I think she was very vocal. Her parents knew where she stood with the whole thing. And I think also for themselves personally, they were also like tired of just hitting dead ends all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So it was like, let's just put this thing to rest, and this is the situation. This is what it is. So yeah.
Can we also touch on Wade's character? I really enjoyed him.
Oh,
I
love
really, really enjoyed
Wade.
him. And friend zoning. You see that already. So oh,
It
I love
is
it.
what it is, guys.
Well, obviously you guys are acting, but
Yes.
in the story, Puleng friend zones him. Do you think it's something we girls do all the time? Where the right guy is like literally under your nose, but you're looking like over there.
But guys,
Have you done that? Is that what you're doing?
why isn't KB the right guy as well? Because KB is also sweet.
I mean, you're right. You're right.
Like KB is also
Look,
a nice
it's
guy.
not to say, why are you defending KB winner?
No, but I just
It's
want to
not to
know.
say, it's not to say that KB is the wrong guy. But what I'm saying is Wade was there before KB, technically. So why was Wade not given the opportunity when he had been asking for it from the beginning?
Hey guys, I think it's something we do as girls. You know that the saying that nice guys finish last, eh? I
Yeah.
feel like Wade just made himself too available.
Yeah.
KB was a bit of mystery there. Like, what's happening
Yeah.
with this guy? There's
Yeah.
something I'm not sure. He was just something about KB.
Are you
I
dating?
see you. Dan.
Are you dating?
Sorry, guys.
Are you
Guys, I think the connection. I think the connection. I
are you
can't. Thando.
dating?
Thando, I can't. I think the connection.
Come on,
Guys,
tell us.
what's
Are you
what's
dating? I'll
happening?
tell you if you tell
Hello.
me. I'll tell you if you tell me.
You go first.
No, I asked first. You go.
God, but then can I ask? And then I answer this
Okay, so I'll
question, then
take
what
that as a
happens?
yes. Huh?
But I'm saying, like, if I answer that question, then what happens afterwards?
Then you're going to ask me the question and then we have the answer.
And then what do we do with that answer? Like, then what must happen?
I know people want to know, honey. We want to
Guys.
know also now, if you have a boyfriend, he's going to be subjected to 6 episodes of you possibly kissing the one guy, which you then decide to friend zone, and then doing other stuff, for those who haven't watched, with another guy.
Who's most concerned about that is my mom. My mom is actually, I was watching
the
this.
subject? Oh my gosh, you're changing
No, but I'm just saying, like, the person who's most concerned about that is my mom. My mom literally.
Yeah.
So I came back from work today and I walked in. My mom was watching. Literally, I walked in and she was watching the sex scene, and she's like,
Oh, no.
she's like,
Oh, no.
I can't watch this. Like, so I think my mom is more concerned about like, me kissing and doing all of that. She is like having a hard time. She can't see it.
Well, you very successfully evaded the question. Well done. We'll see if we can go back to it. But there's a scene where Gail's character tries to have the conversation of the birds and the bees with Puleng. Have you had a conversation about the birds and the bees with your mom?
Oh, can I tell you the conversation with my mom just went with sex will always be there, whether you're 80 or you're 21. Like, sex will always be there.
Well, I mean,
literally. And I was just like, Mom. She's like, don't even rush it. So, yeah, that's how it went with my mom, the birds and the bees conversation.
I think the only one I got, it was my first day of high school, and I had had my period for the first time, and I was horrified. So I screamed, "Ah!" And she comes running in, and there's, blood there. And she literally said to me, "Okay, now you can fall pregnant, so don't have sex."
Yeah, or like don't stand next to boys. Like you can't talk to boys because if you talk to a boy, you'll fall
Yeah,
pregnant.
that was
You know
literally
that African thing.
the
Uzawumitha, amamkela,
conversation.
uzawumitha.
Yes. If you one day, I mean, I know you're still probably a very long way to go until those days, but how do you think you'd construct a conversation about the birds and the bees?
With my daughter or my
Yes.
son. I think I'd be very honest about
Yes.
it. I really would like to be an honest parent. I would really want my kids to feel comfortable to speak to me about anything. So I would teach them a lot about, especially if I'm having a girl, really teach her about not feeling ashamed of exploring her sexuality and what she would like to do with her body.
Yeah.
It's completely her choice. Not to feel like a guy needs to tell her and, because a lot of that can become like abuse, but that's a different
Mm-hmm.
conversation. But I definitely would
Mm.
have that conversation. And I think Buleng has that, she really, for those who haven't watched, but, I think for those who have, see that Buleng really takes charge of the moment. It's her choice. It's what
Yeah.
she wants to do. She doesn't feel pressured to do anything to please anyone.
I was also, that girl in school. I remember, I think I was in grade 8, and a friend of mine told me that she's like, "Oh my gosh, you won't believe what my boyfriend gave me for my birthday." So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"What did he give you?" And then she says, "Some tea." But I'm in grade 8.
What?
So I was horrified. I never spoke to her
Wow.
again.
Wow.
But my mindset has since changed. I think then
Mm.
it was a little bit judgmental. I
Mm.
think, sure, I mean, I have my own ideas of when it should and shouldn't happen, but it's not to say I get to tell others when it should
Yeah.
and shouldn't happen for them. And what I
Mm.
loved most about Blood and Water, I think there's a scene where I forget the character of your best friend's name, Zama.
Sama.
Zama is getting is giving head. Yes,
She's getting head.
yes,
But
she's getting
everyone,
head.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no,
Everyone,
no,
you
you're
guys are,
allowed to say, girl. She's
yeah, you guys have
getting
seen,
head.
yeah, yeah, she's getting hit.
And
But
I
everyone has
love
seen
that
the
as
first
well, the
episode,
fact
I'm
that
sure.
she was you said
Mm,
it earlier, how certain decisions are deliberate. She was getting the head. I think for a lot of the movies and series we've watched, it's sort of the other way around. Anyway, your character comes in
mm.
and she's for a second shocked but keeps it moving. For me, I would have been like, "Oh my god, I am unfriending you right now,"
No,
and it's
I feel
beautiful
like,
how
yeah.
we no
I
continue.
feel like I feel like it's just how things are these days. I think people nowadays, I mean, it's also a generational thing. I think kids these days are more open. There's more conversations about that. I think back in the day, it wasn't like that. It was a very much taboo thing. But I think
Yeah.
now with, the women's empowerment movements, with shows like Blood and Water, just teaching young girls,
Yes.
it's okay to like take charge, guys. It's your body, it's your choice, and there's no judgment. Be happy,
Yeah.
guys. Be happy. We just want
And it's
you to
also
be
just about
happy.
being a responsible young woman. I think
Yes.
that's still being an important part in that, but owning your body, owning your sexuality, being proud of who you are. There's so many sort of themes explored within Blood and Water, whether it be family, whether it be friendship, whether it be pansexuality, whether it be, there's so much,
Yeah.
underage drinking even,
Mm.
and that being a reality. I think a lot of shows that we've watched, yeah, no, I'm gonna put it out there because a lot of shows that we
Yeah.
watch sort of shy away from showing that when we know that
Mm.
that's the reality that is
Reality.
happening. We're showing what young people are actually doing in 2020 and have been doing for many years, but many shows have been unable to show it because they've been too scared to show it. What has been your favorite theme?
On Blood and Water.
Yes.
I think it's definitely the relationship between just the mother and daughter dynamic. That was a very interesting theme. Also the sexuality, discovering,
Yeah.
the youth just, I think each and every single character on the show really is trying to discover what the kind of impact they want to have in society. So whether it's Wendy with her wokeness or Fikile with, her just trying to be authentic to who she is, or um, Chris, I was about to say Anu, but that's his real name.
Yes.
Chris, with his pansexuality, I think each and every single character is trying to just navigate their way through society. So I really like that. I think it's something that everyone can relate to, no matter how old you are, because
Yeah.
life is just we're constantly evolving as human beings. We're trying to discover who we are. So I think these characters, people can really relate
Yeah.
to their journey, and yeah.
Well, I'm really excited for everybody to see it. Thank you for having this conversation with me. It doesn't end here. I'm really excited because on the 23rd of May, there will be it's what's it called again?
That will be airing. Yes,
Yes, it's
on
going to be
yeah.
on YouTube Africa, on YouTube, on Netflix's official page, from 7 p.m. on the 23rd of May, which I'm really, really
Yes.
excited about. There's going to be performances from Teleman, from Nasty C, from Rolene, all of which have been part of the official soundtrack for the series. Any parting words for those who are hiding under a rock and not watching Blood and Water?
Guys, watch the show. It's really, really good. And I think it's so important that we support this. It's such a huge moment for our continent. I think we're showing the world African talent, young African talent, and I feel like Blood and Water is representing our country. So we really just let's support it. Let's support young
Yeah,
talent. And I
yeah.
hope you guys enjoy the show. And guys, Nancy C's on the show.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
just
his acting
joking.
debut, which is really, really
Yeah, it
exciting.
was very exciting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, always making noise about having young, fresh faces on their TV screens, and to have more of this sort of thing happen, we need people to watch and to support. Also, follow Ama on all the social media networks, and of course, all of the cast as well. So the after school special takes place on the 23rd of May on Netflix's YouTube page. Make sure you tune in. I'm really excited, and all the
Yes.
best with the rest of the show.
Thank you so much, Thando. I'm literally, guys, I'm acting cool right now, but inside, you must know, Uguti, my heart. I cannot believe this. This is crazy.
Amazing. And if you just tuned in
Wow.
and you didn't get to catch the entire conversation, I will put it up on Spotify and on Apple. And of course, you're going to save it as well, Ama, and then it'll be on
Yes.
your page. I'll put it on my page as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Shout out to you, Ama, for taking time to speak to me, and all the best with the rest of the season.
Thank you so much, Thando.
Bye.
Bye.